haven't been on YouTube in a little while. Going live. I was going to make a pre-recorded video. Decided not to. Welcome back. It has been quite some moments. So, for the purpose of this, I am going to specifically lead out a word. And I'm not going to say what the word is. If you know, if you're consciousness, I'm sure you can glean. So, there are multiple types of people that are existing. And for the purpose of this, you're going to be able to apply this to any time period, any reincarnation. You just have to know enough. And maybe it's not in the book, but you just have to know enough. And depending on your level of consciousness, there are multiple types of a person. And since I know the topmost level of consciousness, I can walk you through. For human purposes, I will use 12 levels of consciousness. No more, no less. I won't even do 0. I know you guys like that. Okay, so welcome. It's December, almost over. Thank God. I wasn't going to speak on anything more. I feel like I produced exactly what needed to be said, and I didn't really like the income part of it, so I kind of left YouTube alone. But I have something to say today. I kind of just wrote something. So if you see me looking to the left, it is Google Sheets. So I'm just like reading what I wrote. So the level 1. Start with level 1. The runner. So the runner is perhaps, as people call him on the internet, hopping from one place to the next. And I'm not really channeling my husband. He's somewhere doing something. So in the spiritual realm, he needs to attach himself to any level above his, not below. Remember I said this. And his level is below his. Stay with me. For this very reason, he needs to be accepted in a short amount of time. I know we like watches here, so there's time. If you think the spiritual realm has time, I don't know. I don't know what to do with you. He needs to be accepted in a short amount of time because he is unsure of the knowing a consciousness above him might have, but uses short-term remembrance of prior attachments, people, to improve his slip inside. I will not define slip inside. You will just have to go let it marinate. He might comb his hair and brush his teeth, but make no mistake, his teeth are jacked up. Not here to make fun of anyone. And he might have bumps behind his neck. His hair may be oily. I've given you enough to go for any time period. His eyes are blind any time period. But you are not looking. He knows this quickly and starts. Remember I said slip inside. He says things like, "Hi, how are you?" He asks for things to see if you'll give them, like your time, nowadays your phone number. And this is where he knows if you are above. Any response and look you give to his hair that he combed and his teeth he brushed will tell him it works. He is also dressed okay, not dirty. Maybe his crack is dirty, but you'll never see it. He tells you small things, places he works, and makes sure you have a good picture of something false, like purpose in him or money. I don't really want to change too much of what I wrote, so I'll try not to do that. This is where it ends. It's half spiritual meaning and have construct desires. If you don't know construct, I might not do anything about that. He is very familiar, people want. So it's have spiritual meaning and have construct desires. He is very familiar, people want, all time. I don't know how many times he's been here, I don't know anything about this. This is how it ends. So I told you this is where it ends with the purpose and money, and how it ends is with the construct desires and spiritual meaning. You find out he is not who he is, doesn't matter how long it takes you. He will move on regardless of how long it takes you. He needs more. You cannot give enough. He is bottomless. You are now one of many being drained. SRRY. Level 2. I know. The scapegoat. The scapegoat is what people on the internet call childish, and he is always going to find a way to make it known he is not up to par with the times of adulting. Adulting, 25 years older. Any time period. The level above is of no use, and the level below is not either. So 1 and 3. Childish behavior can only exist around a mother archetype, and thus it needs to be attached to women with children or strong mother qualities. This level he attaches to cannot suspect. So I've seen him attached to levels 4 through 6 with my own eyes. I'm very spiritual. Level 7 cannot be claimed. It's too busy wanting 1-year-old children, not 25-year-old children. For this, he approaches her and immediately tries to get her to see into his world. No art, no rugs, I'm not talking about anybody, no fully stocked refrigerators, just the cheap bare minimums so that any woman takes pity is his new supply, any time period, cheap bare minimums. You have to know, you have to have been there some moments. You can glean what any time period might have been the bare minimum. He finds out that he can be anything in the construct if he just find a spot you are lacking. He can benefit from you giving. Now, why would I say he finds out that he can be anything in the construct? I say that to say he can be a musician, cook. He can be anything. Like, you know, you have these jobs, like you have things out here. If you think they're in heaven, like maybe painter. Like painter sounds nice, like, but cook, I don't know. It depends. It depends. Yeah. Just like, see what comes out your mouth. If you be like, oh, Netflix creator, probably not. If he just find a spot you are lacking, he can benefit from you giving. Sometimes I go back to he can be anything in the construct because I know that's like new terminology. Like, what do you mean anything in the construct? Like a computer program? Do you think that's in heaven? Probably not. But he knows he can be anything. Like you're not, it's not about what he does necessarily. Kind of, but not really. He just has to find a spot you're lacking. He can benefit from you giving. Your efforts would be better suited, I'm just gonna put it out there, at a homeless kids shelter. But you never do this. He will be slow to find new supply because you are now connected to his home. Make no mistake, he will keep you here. They build upon one another. So one can go from level 1 to level 2 to level 3. You're not always stuck. Like, everything does evolve eventually. That's the brochure. So if I say, oh, he's not attached to you, didn't slip in, these aren't happening, he has that experience. So whether or not it's happening is up for you to determine based off of the individual. It's like a person that knows how to fix a car. Sometimes they not it doesn't have to be broken. They're just like trying to make it nicer. They might be really interested in engine things or transmission or the tires or the paint. They kind of go in and do what they want. It's free will. So they use what they want is basically what I'm saying. I wasn't supposed to say that, but they use what they want. Sorry. Number 3, no more names. Level 3 is a more ambiguous term as it starts to become hard to tell if this consciousness is going to evolve past flesh and think of the future or simply play in the dirt. Remember elementary school? They had that little square thing with the sand in it and I don't know. He goes out, buys cheap food, decent clothes, no vision. No vision. Not this, but this. Like, no vision. Thinks of the glory days and finds himself mildly interested in women. Mildly. Mildly. You see? Mildly. I'm sorry, I get so... Because the progression. I have to, a little bit, difference, I have to admire this. So he's mildly interested in women. He may seem antisocial, but he is not. Women often approach him. Now, don't be scared. He's had girlfriends, so he can fool anyone, even you. His mom might have passed away. She passed away. She was very far from him. His dad is a stand-up guy, believes in whatever his country is supplying. I don't have to be a U.S. person. I can be anywhere. Anything. His son, not so much. He has a college degree. He's harder to spot. I don't want to talk about people. I'm just saying. He goes to pubs. You see, it could be anywhere. And doesn't grab girls anymore. It doesn't entice him. He bumps into, this is like a regular day. He bumps into you. Energy match to energy match. Now we're getting into spirituality. You don't have to be anything. I'm not Christian. You don't have to be anything. I grew up Christian. It doesn't really matter. I just have to let you know I've had experiences. I'm not crazy. If you don't like what I'm saying, go out there with the majority of level 1s through level 3s, like I'll say later. You don't have to get mad at me, please. God wouldn't, so you don't you. Energy match to energy match. You're not a narcissist. I'm not calling you a narcissist. I'm talking about energy. You are both level 3 consciousnesses. You're just not a narcissist. And I said I wasn't going to say that word, so just pretend I didn't say it. Help me out. I'm human. Please, forgive me. I didn't want to say it, but it's live. Who would benefit from each other. I know, sounds crazy. You keep going around looking for love, and you get the same results. I'm talking about you, the woman. You both need to spiritually evolve. You converse. He finds you attractive. That's why. But like any person, he comes alive again and thinks of a way to get this one. Like level 1 and level 2 just kind of I told you that. Figure out how to use it. Doesn't know why. He doesn't know why. He introduces you to his friends, doesn't talk too much about family. They could be racist, you could be black. Just keep this in mind. Doesn't matter your race. He doesn't talk about them. Next thing you know, you're having sexual relationships. You have no boundaries. You, the woman, no foresight. Not really knowing if he's a good man for kids, but his kids just landed into you. You funny. Now you have to ask. Oh, no. Now you have this birth control shot. So you're not worried about. But you never noticed how he didn't ask. Now you are spiritually bonded. He's not. Oh yeah, he's not sucking you. He's just not sucking you. You are sharing a stream both ways. And I can't really give like another English word other than a stream both ways. Like I said, energy to energy. Now you're sharing a stream both ways. Because that's what that act does. And if, like anything, go figure out if you feel like you know this too. Then 2 months go by. And he latches on. Don't say I didn't warn you. Your life is now in shambles. 3 months go by now. 4. You're tired. Anyways. You eventually, I hope, have found a way to learn at least one thing. Find some questions, this is just me. Find some questions you want answered in a specific way and ask them. And he doesn't give them, walk away, because you didn't ask too many questions, and this may last in some way for life, even after a breakup, because you have to intentionally break this bond. I don't really want to explain this. This isn't the real world. SRRY. 4, and I'm almost finished. This is where it gets interesting for me. And if I have a very high level of consciousness, and I haven't said what I'm on earth for, then I say, this is where it gets interesting to me. Oh, just know. This man is all over. He's got college education, 401k. I know I'm sounding like I'm in this time period. A nice car, just whatever is highly sought after. Like the level 1 would really know really well. Pays on a mortgage. Mom and dad live within a 2-hour flight. If you go back to any time period, you can kind of glean what would match. But I'm very much in 2023. He has a vacation property and volunteers. He's hard. I mean a body part. All the time. That's the unwritten knowing of why women want him. He's insatiable. Remember I said this. He is going to give you really great, you know what, knowing forever, maybe. And I do mean, wait a minute. He's going to give you really great, see I get all mixed up when I talk about stuff, forever with no lack in sight. He's the worst you'll come in contact with as a level 3 to maybe, and I do mean maybe, level 5 consciousnesses. So you'll come in contact with people at all kinds of levels of consciousness. But he's maybe the worst. He can't be seen having relationships with people that are like a 4 in the face. And I know we hate that stuff. But I'm telling you who he is. I'm telling you what's out here. I have to be very real. I don't really care what it is. But he can't be seen doing that. That's a 4 in the face. So you have to be cute and highly educated. Whatever that was in all time periods is whatever that was. What that was, you could gather, hunt, sew, whatever was highly educational and cute. There's always been cute, and there's always been a little bit getting results and whatever. So he doesn't like dumb mom archetypes or ones who have no questions or boundaries because, didn't you hear me? He's hard. It has to stay this way. Remember, I told you this. I know, why are we messing around with these people? So unlike the feminine, now he doesn't go around having relations around his body count, his low. I mean, he doesn't go around having relations, like a lot. His body count is low. He's hard alone. And when he meets rare, educated, boundary smart, good network, good in the sack, cute in the face, you get it, women, not little girls anymore, made his soft in the second month, don't need to be told twice. He doesn't do that anymore. He is going to vet hard. No kids, no nothing out of the ordinary. I'll tell you his secret. He's not as smart is. Now, people might compliment me and be like, oh, smart, in very specific ways. But if a smart was an entity or a consciousness or a being, he's not as smart is. You might think this, but you haven't been anywhere. You haven't seen the pinnacle outside of this. This isn't a good condition of living. You understand what I'm saying? So if you meet someone that's healthy outside of this construct and that has a very high level of consciousness, you will truly understand where the word smart even came from. Probably this man. But he won't even say he's a man anymore. He's evolved past this. I'm talking about consciousness here. He is masculine, but he will not claim man because this is English. Anyone that's highly evolved probably doesn't like English because look what people say with it everywhere. It's primitive. This is a very primitive, level 1, primitive. We have to agree, that's primitive. Anything that starts at the beginning is primitive. And if you're 12, you don't want to go back to 1. You can go and witness it, you can glean a lot of things about 1 from 12, but you can't. So there's obvious differences. And if you observe the 1950s and people talking today, you have to know the different level of consciousness. They didn't even have wheels. This place didn't even have wheels for a really long time. They were in like a Great Depression over here in like 1900s, allegedly. And now all of a sudden, you've heard some really great you've heard some really interesting things. Like, who would even think of, anyways, back to what I was saying. I have to find where I was. So, okay, so he's not as smart as he thinks he is. He's programmed to be a very specific outcome. And if you can go into programming, you can, but I don't really recommend it. It's sad. You'll realize you were programmed. And you will be one of those divorced women. I'm not going to put anything on people. So I'm not going to say this is everybody. But I've seen this. You will be one of those divorced women displayed in society because you missed one very important thing. Maybe it was 2. Leave me out of it. If he gets soft over you in the 5th or 6th year, the number don't really matter, but usually it is. He's got to go immediately. You have no income. I've seen it. No savings. We hate single mothers around here. He somehow convinced you maybe this is one case scenario to quit working and to be a stay-at-home mother, and you may or may not, due to the raising of consciousness on this planet, have savings, but these on TV don't. Maybe you're naive too. I don't believe in TV. Leave me out of it. Maybe you're naive too. If you didn't have any, you have to go back into the workforce as a single mom. I'm about to puke. I don't have any kids. Not on earth. Anyways, collect food stamps. and depend on the greater collective. If I sound crazy, click off. Click off. And depend on the greater collective somehow to help you build your life over. You hit the wall. That's what they'll say. I'm not going to say I disagree, but I said this. You hit the wall. And you gave him everything he wanted. This is important. You gave him everything he wanted and didn't get anything you wanted. This is a post. A highly smart woman will dump these kids out of nowhere. Maybe, I don't know. You wouldn't really get in this situation. Will dump these kids on his vine. Idiots. He's remarried in a year. You're messed up. I used a different word. Think about that. Level 5 is where you stop reading if you're level 1 through 4 in levels of consciousness. Level 5 is for people who know this isn't the real world, but still get tried. They know they need to be intentional before they come to Earth and try to guide themselves to the right spot. And this isn't the best path. It is perfect. To guide themselves to the right spot and hunker down, because this is not the best word, place. If you know the majority are level 1 through 4, it's hell. This woman is looking for a vibrational match. I'm talking about women. She is looking for a home life experience from birth to death. To learn gratitude, and she finds herself using anything to get that done. She hops around learning in these men that you cannot get what they don't give, what they won't give. And it's very interesting when you say won't give. She's Christian too, so something about Adam's rib. This is my play of the joke. Now stay with me here. She is not any of these people I've mentioned. But by definition, she is looking to be in a, people I've mentioned, position, because she does not care about the needs of the other person to be what they are. She needs this experience. It is what she is here for. So, not all. She fails, and it doesn't really matter if you don't fall into this. The world is in chaos right now. It might as well be everybody. Forget if it's not the 5 people that are watching this. I'm still here because they're level 5 above. She fails because there's not enough energy to keep anybody with her in any universe. You don't see her on TV because she's not participating in anything construct-like, but her own needs. She's very focused. She's kind of invisible. I didn't want to say that. Very quick. 5 is outside of the construct and time, and it just is a predetermined life. So when you see people that immediately go away from certain things, or they don't want to get involved in certain things, it's probably because it's not what they're here for, not what we're here to do. So this girl, I'm just gonna shift my body. This girl doesn't really need to concern herself with how bad things are going right now, because at some point in this awakening on Earth, she realizes that it's not coming. Like after a while, you kind of get awakened that it's not happening for you. So I'll move on. Maybe later on I'll talk about level 5 in a different way. So level 6 is up for grabs because 1 through 4, and I will stop using, I said I was going to stop using that word, is easier to see at lower levels. So it's easier to see this 1 through the things I was saying before level 5 It's easier to see this at lower levels. Some say it cannot exist at higher levels, but it all depends, and this is why God decided the construct. It all depends on what they want and who they stay in contact with. Higher levels of consciousness will avoid levels 1 through 3. So the level 4 is something they might attract if they aren't patient. And this is how you see people failing over and over, and they don't really take breaks in between. Like, they still have something to learn because it's this place. And if you don't take time to heal, you can get passive aggressive. It's all kinds of stuff. I don't want to really get into it. It's too much. If something isn't connected about what they are here to do, ma'am, if it's not connecting what you're here to do, if you get pulled into that lower vibrational energy, as people like to say, I don't want to get into their words, and it simply just happens to work, level 6 knows the future possibilities and decides in their present moment to do or not do certain things. Like right now, it's future possibility. I go out to my hot tub. I decide whether or not to do these things. My mom's coming. I have to get her. So I have to do that. Somewhere in consciousness, they are going over their predetermined soul contract, so no boundaries must be learned. It's a hard-coded soul contract. So like I said, they won't get involved in certain things. This is one of the harder things to explain, but it's possible. They can only attract these lower vibrational messages because they're not patient. They're not getting something. They're trying to pull something from someplace and they won't give it. It's a no. If the answer is no, like, just because you are here, just because you are consciousness, don't mean you get what you want. Just because now you're elitist. Now you think you're just gonna change people. Now you're getting weird.
I want to know how powerful
You should. I don't want to get into the answers, but just because it's a different level of consciousness doesn't mean there's nothing to learn. Clearly, there's way more levels. At some point, you graduate from having to make such rapid leaps, throughout evolution, and you can kind of decide. But clearly, if you're level 1, level 2, level 3, you really need to get up out of there. It doesn't feel good. So you get to a level where you feel, then you can start talking like me. Do something. You notice how these people haven't done anything on this planet? The people from 0 to 500, where's their stuff? The people from 500 to 1,000, where's their stuff? You know, you have some Bibles, text, but they have physical stuff in decay. Nobody's learned how to get along down here, not majority-wise. I mean, it's clearly been reset a few times with the decay and the floods and the mud floods, and God is really not going if they can't get out. You have to try something else to try to get out of this 1 through 3, you know? So I don't really want to touch into if something's happening to people, something being done to them, because consciousness is safe. It's just to get more evolved. I'm not supposed to stay there. Like I always say, don't go around messing with people. I don't want to get into the Bible. So, level 7 is a full blown out from the way they talk to the way they smile. So a full blown out. You'll be taken for a spin at how well things work out for them and how well it feels to see them in action. How well it feels to see them in action. I'm not going to give any examples. They can be entrepreneurs or in corporate, it doesn't matter. They are most likely here to get people to wake up, but fall into the same. I'm here to talk about an archetype, not good people. They fall into the same needs if they have experiences growing up to where the spiritual side does not overpower the program. And the program is 1 through 3, basically, or whatever is going on. I'm not really going to talk into like the influence of why the world looks the way it does. It doesn't really matter to me. This can be hard to follow because after level 5, everything is a mistake. And I know these people personally. And I think as anybody who's grown up in a family where maybe a brother went off the tracks and, you know, found himself in jail, just all kinds of things. You really want to be sensitive because it's happened to you. You'd be like, why did I come here? You know, I didn't mean for anybody to get hurt. Everything after level 5 was a mistake, and I really want to highlight this because it's hard. It can be hard to follow these people, and these are majority are in 1 to 3. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's less. It's kind of like the curve of deviation. Like most people are 1 to 3. I'm just gonna say like lesser in the 5, 6, 7 because they're not really supposed to be here. They're usually here to help. If anybody knows the timeline of what's going to happen, just follow. If they know the timeline, they wouldn't come down here messing around. If you do this with me, 1960, because you know it, to 2000, it's 40 years. So now you know it. If you were to propose help, because you feel like something needs to be helped further along, you know exactly where it needs to be targeted because you know what happened in the 60s, the 70s. You know about crack. You know about a lot of things. So these people, they know, because just like how you just were able to go back, they can go back. And I don't really want to freak people out. So if you can go back, you're not here to go be a correctional officer. You're not really going to go mess around with women. Just follow me. So everything after level 5 is a mistake. They just get, it's a little too strong. It's a little 1 to 5. You have to fight. I don't know. So it's not intentional. They came here to result this way. But anyone can be caught with their pants around their ankles in the flesh of a body. There could be too many partners, soul ties, I don't want to get into it. Too many lies they told, choosing to deceive and dwell around these people's choices, Now, 1 to 3 makes certain amounts of choices, but anybody can make these choices. They're just choices. You can lie, you can deceive, you can do all kinds of things. That connection isn't really there to where you were before you came. It's a mistake. It just is. So, not, it makes you this level 1 to 4 people. Makes you. This is the choice level 5 and above make versus the carnal savages of level 1 through 4. And if you've ever been a single mom, divorced with no income, you might just let me be. It's not the same choice, but these choices are made. They are either not addressed because they think they are above it, or it adds up and they get in a random fight and the person ends their life. And your consciousness, I don't want to get into it, you'll have to intervene because you got cocky. So if you ever seen somebody be on the brink of death in a coma and they come out of it, or somebody's life gets completely wrecked. And they come back, you'll have to intervene. Someone have to intervene. They will not be visible. They don't wear spiritual things. They are recklessly falling out, and they are victimized by the past. Anybody's liable. I'm so sorry. And I said trust me, but don't. Your choices matter. So levels 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I grouped them together because I wanted to be quiet. I don't really like to talk. They're grouped together because I'm tired. I don't like to talk. I've been on Earth 25 years, and I have yet to find anyone who could write this. My experience was observing for nearly 2 years a level 12. So for the purpose of this, I'll say he's me. Something has to be rectified in his choices versus my choices, and breaking apart a mission to come here as one, and him getting swept up and me not getting swept up, and nothing being able to stop us from coming together. Delays. Didn't meet him at 18, 20, 21. Delays. Please save my life, you know? I wasn't ready. I didn't grow up like this. There's certainly some examples, maybe, but I didn't read this in a book. I had to physically come out of this on YouTube a few years back because I didn't know really what was going on. I was protected from levels 1 through 5, really, when things go wrong. Because just being level 1 to 3 doesn't mean you are, clearly. My mom's fine. You know, like, people are fine. But if you're this, you know, deceiver, I don't know. If you suck people, then, yeah. So that's pretty much what I had to say. I don't know if this is going to reach, but save yourself. Don't go trying to figure out these things. Do you? Don't go read Bibles across the world. Just my advice. Source consciousness. That's source consciousness. That's my advice. Don't go looking into Hamas, 9/11, the Great Depression. These men are at war with themselves at bottomless pits. Who knows what's down there? Do you want to go? Source said don't go down there. I didn't think. I say go to therapy. Find you some kids somewhere that need help. Somebody abandoned them. I don't know. Maybe stop having kids. There's a lot of things to reconsider when you are faced with the majority and you are outnumbered. There's way less problematic women. You're outnumbered. Everyone in that Bible, every chapter in that Bible is a man's name. All them problematic men in that Bible is a man's name. Those are his lessons. Those are his quarrels. I don't want to read the Bible. I read Jobs yesterday. I said, I don't want to be disgruntled. If they're going to be washed over or taken out, let me. If they're going to be washed out. So, I say only be around women, you know, build that ark, figuratively speaking. Yes, that's my degree. I don't really brag, but I did something down here. I've never been to college, but I did that. I went through college. I've never been to Earth. Been to college. Last time I was here, I won't talk about that. It's not your information. But I've never been to Earth. So, yeah. Just believe me. Clearly I'm lying, but believe me, bro. I'm just having fun because you can see my personality a little bit. Yeah. Mm, I don't know.
Where is Sutton?
I don't know what you guys should do. My mom was a single mom. She wasn't a married single mother. She got off governmental assistance. I graduated. I quit recently, but I did do right by her. I do right by anybody. I try, but you know, my family's talking mess about me right now. I don't want to go hang around them. I'm not pagan. I don't want to go do it. You know, so that's just a little bit about me. So you can be like,
Taking her outside.
you don't know anything about this girl. She quit. Y'all won't quit. Y'all hate these people. Y'all said this is a bad situation in this country and a lot of countries, but y'all won't quit. I quit. So we'll see what happens next, okay? Okay? About to see what happens next. Well, you guys will. I already know. I'm trying to, honestly, if I were y'all, I'd be trying to exit immediately. Bye.